Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Loose Lugs. Here with the other loose lug, Dustin Lewis. I'm your also host, Chris Osborne. How you doing, Dustin?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I had a good weekend. I had a good Easter. Hopefully you did too.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully everybody at home did as well. Shall we get into a pretty good race?
Yes, I'm ready. Pretty good race.
So, for you that did not, I guess the family kept you from the TV. I don't know. If you did not see the race, hello, John. How you doing? It featured some good passing. It was a little boring early, but it really settled in. The finish is what everybody's talking about, and rightfully so. It was one of the best finishes I think I've ever seen in a NASCAR race. We're not even going to keep you from that. Let's go ahead and roll right into that and show these cats what happened if they didn't see the finish of the race.
He closed up big time out off the two.
Did. Traffic stays to the bottom.
Oh, don't get
White
loose.
flag's going to wave. 1 lap to go. Sponsored by Credit One Bank. Here it comes.
White flag. Still inside.
One chance.
He lost his nose a little bit on the 8. He's right on him.
He's there.
Well, he goes for a slide job. This is it. There it
There
goes. Look for it.
Down to the bottom. Slides up in. Two to him. Who's going to save it? Neither one. They both spin out. Kyle Busch and Kyle Busch is going to win barely. Steals one.
Holy cow. Tyler Reddick. Oh.
I told you he's going to take a drastic move.
Oh,
It's hard to watch if you're a Tyler Reddick fan or Chase Briscoe. You know, either one. They both did not get the result they wanted.
no. No, they didn't. Still watching that. I'm still thinking in my mind, like, that 8 car has got it. He's got it. 18.
And how many times has he been robbed already? It's getting to be.
He's become the new Ross Chastain.
Oh, hang on, not yet. Sorry.
He's the new Ross Chastain. He's right there at the end. He's right there, and something happens.
Every time. He's going to get it. He's going to get that win, and then when he breaks through, he's going to be just like Ross Chastain. He's going to get that win, and then he's going to run about 10th for a month. Have a chance at a few wins, but not dominate. You know, right before he got that win, I mean, he was killing it. Every race looked like he could win.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work out, but it's gonna happen.
Still can happen.
It's still gonna happen. I think they both. Matter of fact, before the season, I think we both said the guys that get races won early. Tyler Reddick and Ross Chastain. Chastain's already done. He's already got his win. I feel like this was a Tyler Reddick win to the T. I mean, he dominated the end of the race. It just didn't work out. So he'll get – next weekend is such a wild card. I'm not even going to attempt to pick anybody. I'm not, because anybody can win that race, and everybody always does.
Mm-hmm.
It's the driver you don't think is going to win it. Bubba Wallace won last fall. I wouldn't pick Bubba Wallace. He's decent, but he's not like –
he's not lighting up the charts every single week.
Yeah, even on restrictor plates, he's led some laps, but he's never really been in a position to win any of those, not with 5 to go. But kudos to him for getting the win. I'm just saying, yeah, that's not – I didn't start the day saying, yep, Bubba Wallace is winning this race.
Yeah.
I do want to play the other clip that keeps trying to come up without my permission.
It's got a mind of its own.
Yes. So this is Chase Briscoe approaching Tyler Reddick after the race. I thought what he said was pretty interesting.
I wasn't expecting to win, so I tried to slide him. I was trying to lead him up. I didn't get there, and then that was my fault, 100%. So I hated the Tyler. He's a good friend of mine, and I wanted to see their guy win if it wasn't me. So yeah, go down here, apologize, and deserve what I get, I guess, because that was just racing. I was trying to go for the win, and I'm not going to do it, like I said, but
You got to make a move to go for the win there, right?
yeah, I was just trying to win the race. And, I ran it down so fast, and it was going to be hard with flat traffic. So I tried throwing a slider, and it was just the wrong move. So yeah.
He said on his radio that he would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I'm going to go talk to him. I mean, if he punches me, I get it. So, yeah, I think it was just a racing deal and see what he says.
Hey, it's all good. Yeah, I needed to drive away, and I let you get close. It's on me. It's all good. Till next time.
Protect your truck.
Sponsor.
Ain't no way. I don't care how good of a friend he is. Ain't no way I'm going to let him walk away without at least let him know how frustrated I am. I'm not saying I'm going to throw a punch. But you compare this to Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
Ty Gibbs punches, not Josh Berry, Sam Mayer. Thank you. Sam Mayer for less, much less. And if you go back and look at that now, Mayer was getting help getting to where he was. He had somebody pushing him. This was also a racing incident, but I feel like if you're going to be upset, this is the one to be upset about.
Yeah, especially with it being your potential first win.
Right. And Briscoe knew what was going to happen. He knew two options. Either A, I'm going to be a pro and hold this on the bottom. Know when I drove it in way too hard. Very little likeliness. Or B, I'm going to spin him and get the win for me.
Yep.
So George G commented, I like the sportsmanship between the two guys. NASCAR needs this more. They don't need punches thrown. I agree. Sportsmanship is great. I'm totally on board with that. I do think, though, Reddick is eventually going to have to stand up for himself and say, hey, you guys got to stop, putting me in this position. You're supposed to go out and take it. And he did and didn't get it. So it is on him. He's right in saying that, I should have pulled away. But you also didn't have to get, driven into quite that way. So I can see either way being an issue. But like I said, he needs to stand up for himself at some point and say, you're going to race me like this, I'm going to race you like this. I'm not going to smile and say we're good after getting wrecked on the final lap, the final turn.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can both agree on that. This just a bad situation all around. Reddick had the potential to get the win. Briscoe saw his last opportunity to try and go for it. He went for it, didn't stick, took them both out. And yeah, Reddick almost, got it credited and got the win, but I mean, almost only counts in a few things, and this ain't one of them.
Right. We do have another person to add to the show here in a second. It was all in the track conditions too. If this was a regular track, it is a different story. Totally.
Mm-hmm.
If this was Martinsville, the punches are definitely thrown. If this is Martinsville.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Bring in our guest. What's up, man?
Not much. What's up with you?
So this is Stat Guy, aka Dustin.
Hello.
Hey.
The other Dustin.
The other Dustin.
We are sitting here talking about the outcome last lap between Reddick and Briscoe. Reddick hasn't watched the Cars movie. Oh, man. Left to go right. Anyway, so we were just discussing, because I agree no punches should have been thrown, but I think Reddick eventually has to stand up for himself and be at least somewhat mad, stand his ground, let people know this is how I race. If you're going to race me that way, I'm going to give it to you back. And he didn't do that. He kind of walked away and said, no, we're all good. I wouldn't have been all good. What's your take on that?
I mean, Kyle Busch is one of those drivers that gets under everybody's skin anyways. So even on that last lap, in the heat of the moment, you're going to have some drivers that want to throw a punch and some drivers that don't want to throw a punch. But at the same time, you know that if he would have spun somebody out, he's not going to want that driver that he spins out to throw a punch at him. So if he's driving, trying to get the win, and somebody spins him out, whether it's intentional, unintentional, or whatever, he's going to get mad, obviously, because he's close to winning. He wants to win, but it's also racing, and that kind of stuff happens in racing, and he knows that it's not going to be the first time this happens. It's not going to be the last time that happens. So if you keep your cool now, it's better to do that now as opposed to losing your cool now, having it happen down the road when you do it to somebody, and then somebody reacts the way you did the first time somebody did it to you.
Right. And I agree with that. That's a good take. Dustin won. I'll go with stat guy and Dustin so I don't get you guys confused. Dustin, who gave you a good impression? Who did really well considering it's a dirt race? Maybe they're not a dirt guy. Who came home for you?
Oh, I'm thinking Alex Bowman. We were talking before the show, and I like Alex Bowman has very little dirt experience. He comes home in sixth place. His teammate Kyle Larson, who probably has the most experienced dirt driver in the field as of right now, he finishes fourth.
Yeah.
Now, either Larson was just not having the dirt day he was hoping for, or I don't know. Bowman overperformed, in my opinion, for this dirt track race. I mean, we'll call it what it is. It's a dirt race. He just overperformed. I figured Bowman would be right around where Byron is, 18th place, probably even lower than that. But no, he comes home with a top 10 finish, giving himself even more points for the championship. I'd say that was the best possible result other than winning.
Right.
In my opinion.
Mm-hmm. All right, stat guy. Who was the non-dirt driver that impressed you?
I think Christopher Bell impressed me too. Christopher Bell doesn't have a ton of dirt road experience. He last year did not have the best results on the Bristol dirt track, so for him to end up in 7th place, that just shows a testament to how much he's improved on dirt tracks without even racing on them on a regular basis. This is one of those races that can be used as a confidence builder for him going forward too, because he's had so many instances too where he's been in it till the final lap of the race and hasn't been able to really come away with the wins he was hoping for. And this is kind of one of those situations where he knows he can race with some of the best drivers. Now it's a matter of what he needs to do to finish it off.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I personally am going to go with Michael McDowell. Came home 9th. Doesn't have the top-tier equipment that these guys are sporting, and he's not dirt experienced. He has very few races on dirt. And so I'm going to give it to him. I'll give him the award. Factor in the lesser equipment, maybe not as fresh equipment with that team, because they're using the same car almost every week unless it wrecks. They're not getting a brand new car like the Hendrick guys are every week. So I'll give it to him there. And then, a driver that also impressed me, that dirt or no dirt, I'm still giving it to these guys at Trackhouse. Daniel Suarez coming home 12th, but he led a lot of laps. He looked like he had a really good car. He's another guy, we were talking before the show, he's right there. He's going to get a win before the season's up, and same thing with Reddick. Talladega's up next. Like I told you, I'm not picking anybody for this race because I could probably show up, wait for the big one, and walk to the finish line and win it. It's just one of those wild card races. But let's throw a team out there. I think that's easier to do. What team or even manufacturer do you look to have the strongest showing this weekend?
Oh, Lord. I kind of want to go Hendrick on this one, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to refer back to what I said for the 500. You're probably going to see these Hendrick guys dominate qualifying. Like, they might lock out the first 2 rows. I'm just being completely honest. But I think that pace is going to go away when it comes to the race because you got the dominance of the Fords when it comes to working together and drafting. And two, I mean, they're the only team, the only manufacturer that can compare to Chevrolet in terms of numbers. And Toyota, the only thing they got going for them is their team synergy. Getting them guys together and going to say, okay, stick with them. Don't leave them.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Penske is gonna do really good. They did pretty good in the 500.
You took my team.
Well, I mean, I think we can agree. I think me and Chris can agree on Penske when it comes to super speedways. Blaney is one of the best super speedway drivers on the grid right now. And Hendrick, I mean, by God,
He just won Daytona.
He won Daytona. I mean, if you're going to put money on anybody for the race, I'm saying put your money with Penske. Now, if we were just saying qualifying, I'm putting my money on Hendrick all day, every day. There is no question.
They'll probably get the top 4 again for no reason.
Yeah, just because, we built a really good car. It just sucks in the draft.
I don't know what they do to the cars to make them, because they don't do it like they used to. They don't trim them out quite as much for qualifying, but they still manage to qualify well and put 2 of them together, and they're slow. That makes no sense.
Get it either.
Stat guy, give me either a team or a manufacturer that's going to kill it.
In terms of a team, I kind of like Joe Gibbs Racing in this one. I think Martin Truex and Denny Hamlin are kind of in position to have a really good race on Sunday. Denny Hamlin usually does well at Talladega. He doesn't have the wins to show for it, but he's usually one of those drivers that ends up in the top 10. We've seen Martin Truex on super speedways and how he's done, so that's 2 drivers right there that could very easily end up in the top 10 for the same team. Manufacturers, I like the Toyota manufacturer just because, for whatever reason, even the last couple of years, it seems like Daytona 500, Talladega, and all these super speedways, it seems like all the Toyotas get in a big group, whether it's at the beginning of the race, the middle of the race, or the end of the race, and they kind of work together in that group to kind of feel out the field. And then when you get to that final stage, those final laps, it just seems like the Toyota just take off and just get into like the top 10 on their own and just kind of rule things from there.
I dig that.
Kind of building on what I was saying earlier, they get together and they just stick with one another. They don't leave each other.
Yeah, it's like they don't care to win any of the first 2 stages. They kind of like use the first 2 stages just to feel out everybody else and just stay with each other. And then once they figure out how everyone wants to drive, then it's like, okay, let's just do what we do now and just go and do what we got to do.
And there's a huge parity. Toyota has 6 cars in the entire field. Ford has, I think we said 24 or something like that. And then 14. And then Chevy has the rest. So, I mean, Chevy dominates numbers-wise at these places, and that factors. I'm going Penske with you, but I'm going to say not Ryan Blaney. I'm going to go the complete underdog and go Harrison Burton is the guy that probably gets it because that 21 team produces super speedway cars. I really want to see them get that 100th win. I'm not picking Burton as the favorite, but I'm saying if I'm picking Penske, because you already took my team here, I'm going to remember that from that later. But I'll go Harrison Burton to shake it up because I think he's got a chance anytime you go to a track like this where it's a wild card. Maybe the teammates help him out and get him in, position, his unofficial teammates. It's going to be a good race. This is the real first test for next gen in the complete draft. I like Daytona, but the handling characteristic changes a lot of the draft characteristics. So you're going to see all-out speed here. These guys aren't going to be calling down pit road for tires. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited. We're going to be there, and I'm excited to cover it. We get there Friday, and we leave probably Monday morning. So we'll cover the ARCA race Saturday morning, the Xfinity race Saturday night, Saturday afternoonish, and then the Cup race Sunday. And, man, I'm excited. We went to fall last year, and it was fun. Place is huge. I mean, you can you sit in the garage, and you cannot see the entire track. You lose the track from the garage. You can't see the backstretch. You can't see turn 1 or turn 3 or 4. You only see what's in front of you. And then you see portions of it's massive.
Yeah.
And I laugh at people that question, why they don't have lights there. And then I kindly say, have you ever installed one of those lights? Now try installing. They're going to need like 200 lights just on the track. Yeah, it's way too much money.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else we got to cover? After
Is there a driver that you guys think has a shot to win their first ever race on Talladega?
If I'm not going Harrison Burton, I think I'd really like to see Reddick. I want to see him get a win.
It'd be fitting.
I don't want it to be here because then people can start saying, well, super speedway Reddick, even though we all know he races well everywhere. But what if he doesn't get another win? I don't want that to be his legacy. So, but Reddick, I'd like to see him win. What about you?
I want to see Bubba get one. Bubba had a very good run at Daytona this year. It was kind of the first time that we've actually seen Bubba Wallace really kind of take it to his own in a super speedway, because usually super speedways are kind of where he struggled because he didn't have like that longevity of speed that a lot of those cars had. But then at Daytona this year, Bubba was near the top the entire time. I kind of want to see him just take that next step and get that first win because of everything that he went through last year and all the drama that he had to deal with backstage. So I think it would be kind of fitting for him to finally get one and just get that monkey off of his back too.
Bubba won the fall race.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. No, never mind.
So
yeah, right. Okay, maybe that's
not a win. But I mean, it's a win.
Can I stick with him and say? Can I stick with him and say have him win a non-rain shortened race since he has yet to do that?
Yeah, because I mean, well, you look at that race. There was
wasn't that called like 60 laps with 60 laps left or like 50 laps left or something like that?
Yeah.
So yeah, there was still a lot. Yeah.
You've got this huge group of haters saying, well, he lucked his way into that, but he still drove there. It's not like he stayed out and everybody else pitted. He drove to the front, then they called the caution. So I don't take that win from Bubba. A win's a win. Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon,
they all got those.
Jimmy Johnson, they've all had rain shortened wins. And I don't remember anybody saying it doesn't count. So, what else? Throw something else out. Let's go for it.
I kind of want to say Reddick with you, but being that you've already took Reddick.
Oh, see now, there's the payback.
There's the payback. I mean,
Suarez.
I have the same thing about Suarez, same thing you have with Reddick. If he wins Talladega, then that's going to look like, well, it's a super speedway. He lucked into it. It's all luck based. I'd much rather him win a place like Charlotte, Bristol, Martinsville, Watkins Glen, Sonoma, somewhere where they can go, yeah, he definitely had the better car.
Okay, then go Todd Gilliland.
Where did he finish in the 500? Did he race the 500?
Yes, and I have no idea. I'm not a Gilliland fan. I'm just saying he's a rookie, and we've kind of crossed the barrier of we don't want it to be their first and only win. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, Gilliland, it would probably be his only win unless he joins a new team. Those guys, they can get a restrictor plate win. I mean, they had Anthony Alfredo in the car, who's, in my opinion, one of the most underrated drivers under the age of 25. And they kicked him for Todd Gilliland. So, not a lot of confidence in that team.
I would say it'd have to be Justin Haley. He hasn't won.
He's won
on the Cup Series though, has he?
He had a rain shortened race at Daytona that he won. I think it was in 2019.
Yeah, what about Ty Dillon?
I don't like Ty Dillon.
Ty Dillon's a special situation. He's not like his brother. I mean, he did pretty good at Bristol. Finished 10th. He had a decent car at Daytona. It's just
what I've heard about Ty Dillon. Remember when Kevin Harvick had those comments when he was leaving Childress Racing? These grandkids are coming in and ruining the team.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, from what I have heard, that wasn't so much pointed at Austin as it was Ty. And because of that, I can't wrap my head around Ty Dillon as being the person that he portrays to be. Brad's a good choice, and he desperately needs a win with those penalties to try and make the playoffs. Totally agree with you there.
I think Harvick needs a win too. Harvick's kind of on
Harvick's
a race drought right now too after just dominating part of 2020 and 2021. He's on a long race drought right now too.
He's a guy that we've pegged for a few weeks now to be. I think there's three drivers retiring at the end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Harvick, Martin Truex
Truex.
Jr., and Kurt Busch. The Truex announcement's coming. I think it happens shortly after Talladega. Coach Gibbs wants his grandson in that car, and Martin is trying to walk away to be a little more close to Sherry when she's, needing him, I think. So I think that's driving his decision to call it quits. We've been saying it for a few weeks, and I totally still feel it. We may even find that this weekend at Talladega. We don't know. Hopefully I'm standing right there with a mic in his face when he says it, but I doubt it. But it would be nice. But Harvick needs a win. If this is his last season especially, I don't want him to go out without a win in 2.5 years, because that's what it would be if he doesn't get a win.
I think realistically Chase Elliott could use a win too, because since he's won the Cup, he hasn't been the same driver for whatever reason either. I don't know if it's because his crew chief left him or whatever, but even last year he made the playoffs, but he really didn't drive that well last year. Yes, he was finishing in the top 10 a lot, but it wasn't like the 2020 version of Chase Elliott where he just kind of took over down the stretch. He hasn't really run that well or that consistent this year either.
And because he took over, I think that's why I don't count him out. But then at the same time, he didn't, light it up last year. He could have won the championship last year. He was in the race to do so. It just didn't work out. But he has not looked like end of the year 2020 Chase Elliott, where he completely dominated Martinsville, completely pulled away at Phoenix. He has not been that since. And not to jinx these guys, but Kyle Larson hasn't looked like Kyle Larson since he won at Phoenix last year either. He has dominated 0 races.
He's a win though, right? He's a win this year. Yeah.
But it wasn't like a dominant performance.
No, it wasn't like winning 3 straight races in the playoffs last year. It was like, well, Larson's out, he's gonna win. Larson's out, he's gonna win.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on over there, and Byron looks the part this year. So maybe they are trying to spread the wealth. I don't know. They got good drivers, but Chase does need a win. What else we got?
Just building on what you're talking about, William Byron, he's the only driver so far this year to have repeat wins.
Yeah.
Everyone else either has 1 win or no win. I'm looking at the playoff standings right now, and I mean, like you are just saying, Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson are like night and day differences from one another from when they won their championships. I remember last year, and me and Chris talked about who do we think we're going to win the championship, and I said Larson's going to win it. There's no doubt in my mind. He's dominated. Like this is late 90s Jeff Gordon we're watching here. Just going out there and just saying, you know what? I think I'm just going to win this race. This is mine.
Just claiming them.
Claiming them, exactly. And I think when he ended 2021, he had 11 wins. It's 2 off of 13.
I think it was 10 or 11, yeah.
Yeah, 11, I think.
And now you come to I kind of had the feeling that this year we'd probably see just random off the wall drivers winning races because no one's gonna have this car figured out, and it's just gonna be one of those years of, well, it's anybody's game till we get it figured out, and then that team's just gonna dominate.
Right.
And you see it in the win tally, you see it in the point standings. Byron's the only one's got 2 wins. Everyone else either has just 1 or they've been incredibly inconsistent.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of last year too, because even the first 9 or 10 weeks last year, weren't there 10 different winners? And then once we kind of passed that week 10 mark, it's kind of when Kyle Larson started to take over. I think it's kind of got a similar feel this year where it seems like every week there's going to be a different driver winning until they kind of figure these cars out. But that first driver that really figures out these next-gen cars, I think, can kind of go on that run that Larson got on where he just takes over from there and basically says, well, I'm going to win today. Today I don't feel like winning, but I'm going to finish in the top 10.
Yeah.
The first 7 races last year had different winners.
Yeah. I think it's kind
of the first repeat.
Yeah, I think it's going to be similar to that this year until someone figures out like these next-gen cars and just kind of the perfect way to drive them. And I think it's the first driver that figures it out will kind of be that first one that goes on a long run.
And just to show the comparison, right now, because laps led was, I believe Larson broke the record for laps led this season last year.
Yeah.
So far this year, 86 laps led. Daniel Suarez has led more with 92. The guy that's led the most, William Byron, is at 482. So it would really appear that Larson is, he's kind of like Byron has taken that role that Larson had, and it could change totally in a heartbeat. But you look at the points. I'm staring at them. The top 3 drivers in points, no wins. The guys that do have wins, they're scattered. You look up and down. I mean, they're way down the list. Hendrick is the one of the lower ones. He's 14th. Denny Hamlin's 23rd in points with a win. So it's still early, but consistency is what is being lacked of the big finishers that we're used to. I mean, to see Denny Hamlin 23rd in points is that's kind of mind blowing, considering the guy's been, in the championship for, I believe, 6 times. 5 times?
How many races are typically in a season? 37?
36.
So, out of 36 races. So, out of 36 races last year, Kyle Larson finished in the top 10 26 times. Out of 36 races, he was in the top 10. He had 20 top 5s, the 10 wins, and he led almost 2,600 laps. So that just shows you basically from the start of the season that it was Kyle Larson's championship basically from week 1 on.
Oh, and by the way, last week, Fran said the host Malone, she was talking about you.
Me?
Yeah.
Flattered.
Host Malone to you. So, just so you know, she was talking about not me. Not even she lives in this house, but she called you host Malone. I remember that. Yeah.
Maybe it's the facial hair.
I got to get rid of mine. It's starting to look like a jungle.
Yeah, mine's getting crazy too.
And then that guy, he's the bare minimum. I like
looking the cleanest of all of us.
Yep. Anyway, this is kind of what we do, though. We talk about current stuff. We always, every race, dive into something that happened 20 years ago, 5 years ago. Dustin's a bit of a historian over here in the NASCAR area. I follow him with his historical stuff, but he
get things wrong every now and then, but
yeah, he kind of shows me a lot of things that are new in the historical side. But I'm excited for this weekend. I know there's a lot of people that are. This is, like I said, the first real test of the next-gen car in a draft-only setting. There won't be a handling characteristic unless there's a lot of wind, which there isn't usually, and it usually doesn't matter in this race. So,
no.
It's going to be fun. The ARCA race, I can't wait to see that because I guarantee you 10 laps in, I'll get to interview somebody leaving the care center.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be ARCA breaks everywhere.
Yep. They don't need commercial breaks. Just wait for the caution.
Yeah, exactly. There's your commercial right there.
Yep. But I was a little disappointed to know they weren't doing a truck race. I wanted to see the trucks. There is no truck race this weekend. They're off again. It's ARCA Xfinity Cup. I don't think we see the truck guys until we get to, I want to say like Kansas or something crazy. Hang on, let me double check that. They get a few weeks off, and I don't understand why.
The May 6th at Darlington will be the next one they come back on.
Yep, that's it.
And we have to wait till October 1st to see them at Talladega.
Yeah.
That race is always entertaining.
I'm going to that one too. We're going to try and do, 3-4 races this year. Go hang out, be pests, and try and interview everybody. That's what you got to do. You got to just stand there. Hey, Joey,
Interview, please.
I need this. Give me an interview.
Joey, I know you just got spun out, but I need to talk to you.
Yeah. No, you're mad and you don't want to talk to the media, but get over here.
I know you want to sock the guy that spun you, but come on, give an interview.
Last year, I got to meet not Felix Sabatis, Chip Ganassi. And then, later they announced that he'd sold the team. And I really wish I'd had any clue that was going on, because I would have straight been like, is it true? Are you selling? Because then I would have gotten his autograph, not just a picture, because, dude, that would have been worth something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi, Dad. Hey, Mom.
Oh, looky there.
Anyway, so we need to get into a few more races. Dustin, you and I need to hit up a racetrack sometime this summer. Maybe Atlanta.
Yeah, the closest one to me would be Chicagoland or Indianapolis, because I'm from Wisconsin. So those would be the two that are closest to me.
They just demolished Chicagoland.
Yeah, I know. So it'd be Indianapolis would be the closest one to me.
Rip in
I
peace,
hate that.
Chicago.
Or actually Road America in Elkhart Lake.
Oh, that's right.
Elkhart Lake is exactly an hour from my house.
That is awesome. And they do IMSA there too, don't they?
Yeah, they do IZOD, IMSA. NASCAR Cup was there last year. So, yeah, they do plenty of stuff up at Elkhart Lake.
I wish I had realized that they were going to do COTA every year for like the next 3 or 4 years, I think is what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
COTA is right down the road. I could have planned that out. I didn't even know we were doing COTA this year until the schedule was kind of pushed on me, but that's not too far from here either. But Talladega is the closest track for us. Atlanta's about the same distance, and then I'm really hoping they get a race at Barber Motorsports Park next year, maybe even if it's just Xfinity. Maybe trucks. That's a fun track. I don't know if you've seen a race there. The Indy Lights run there. Some of the IMSA races have been there before. It is a action-packed track. There's only 3 passing zones on the whole track, really, and so you've got to time it well and be on the money. And that's kind of famous for having some late wrecks, because the last 2 turns are big wheel. What do they call them? Carousel turns. Yeah. So they're hard.
Yeah. I'm looking at the track map right now. Why? Like, this would be so fun.
And there is a bus stop there too. There is one right before the carousel. So it's modeled after the Watkins Glen turns, where they go bus stop to carousel.
That could be fun.
I may steal an Indy Lights car next weekend and 2 weeks from now and just run it. I'm either going to jail or I'm going to jail and getting a contract. One or the other.
You're pulling an LW right. That's what you're finna pull.
Hoping for the contract. Anyway.
The Xfinity Iowa race is about 3 miles from my house, or 3 hours from my house too. I know they're not racing at Iowa this year, but that would be the other track that's close to me is when the Xfinity goes to Iowa.
That is a fun track. The banking there makes that place fun, because you got the low line that's not as banked, and if you can run up against the wall, like that's a Larson track. I think he'd win every race there, right up against the wall and just gone. Anyway,
didn't he win there last year?
Larson? Did Cup win there last year?
No,
they went to Nashville.
The last race at Iowa was 2019, and Christopher Bell won that one.
I was thinking of Nashville. My bad. Ignore me.
I tried to. Anyway, I think we've covered everything, man. I don't. We've got some picks in there for Dega. It's going to be a good race. Hopefully, it's not riddled with cautions. If we get a couple, I'm fine, but no 25 cautions.
Well, you always need the big one, so you always are going to get your 10 plus car one.
I want to be standing on pit road with the big one on the front stretch. That's all I'm saying.
We're guaranteed 3 of them. 2 for stages, 1 for the big one.
1 for the big one. Then you're going to have NASCAR overtime, and then as the cars are coming to the finish line, you're going to get your big one on that last lap in overtime.
You're going to get the huge one.
Or they're going to totally screw me over and cancel the race because of rain with like 10 to go. It's going to be 10 to go.
Can't get it restarted.
Yep, some random wins it. Anyway, Dustin, stat guy.
There
Thanks
you
for
go.
joining us. Hopefully, this is something we can do again. And,
Yep, and just to be depending on if I can have a chance to watch the race. I know my kid's got first communion next Sunday, so I'm not going to be able to watch much of Talladega. And then the weekend after that, he's got a baseball tournament, so it's going to be just kind of hit and see what races I see. The ones that I see will probably be the ones I hop on with you.
Gotcha. I don't know that we'll have a race, or we'll definitely have a race show next week because I'll still be coming back from Talladega Monday. But if I'm here, you're welcome to join us.
Awesome.
I appreciate everybody tuning in, and we will catch you guys in a week. Everybody have a good week. Take it easy.
Yep.
Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. We talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.